Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Last First Date Radio, featuring interviews with experts in dating, relating, and mating in midlife. And now, here's your host, Sandy Weiner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Sandy, and I am the founder of lastfirstdate.com, and I want to thank you for joining us here today. Last First Date Radio is a show about achieving healthy, off-the-charts love in the second half of life. And we have a fabulous show coming up today. I'm going to be speaking with Wendy Williams about happiness and how to have blissful relationships. Really important. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize that you can really have really happy relationships no matter what your past has been, no matter what your history of relationships has been. It's really possible to change the trajectory of your relationships, and that's really what I stand for as a dating coach. I love helping people to, first of all, be in love with themselves, and I do believe that every good relationship starts with self-love, with really honoring and loving yourself and valuing yourself. And I do believe that the more you come from that place of self-love and valuing yourself, the higher the relationship is going to be in terms of attracting somebody who you deserve, somebody who's more like you. You really align with somebody who is at the same level of self-esteem as you. And that's something that I realized after my divorce, that a lot of the relationships that I had attracted into my life came to me because of how I felt about myself. And I love helping women and men, some brave men who come to me, really have the relationship of their dreams. And there are definitely skills in relationships which we're going to speak about a little bit today with Wendy Williams. And I do want to let you know that I have seen mistakes happen over and over again in relationships. We are too close to our relationships sometimes to really see what we're doing that is sabotaging our relationships. And so what I have done was taken all my research and created a free guide for you, and it outlines the top 3 mistakes that midlife daters make, and I give actionable steps to how you can turn those mistakes around and really attract the person that you deserve. So I would love for you to have a copy if you don't have one yet. It is my gift to you. You need to just go to my website, lastfirstdate.com, and you can sign up right there on my homepage because I want you to go on your last first date. And I also want to make sure that you know about my Facebook page. It's called Your Last First Date. It's actually a Facebook group, and it's a private group, but any woman over 40 who is single is welcome to join us. All you need to do is ask to join, and I will approve you. So go to facebook.com/groups/Your Last First Date. I also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, audibletrial.com/Last First Date. Audible is a fantastic resource for books on tape, and I actually was just going to order one today. Somebody just told me about a great resource for self-love, and since it's something that I teach, one of my clients thought that I would enjoy the book. So I am right now ordering that book. So Audible is a wonderful resource if you love to read but don't always have time to sit and read a book. Listen to a book instead, and with Audible Trial, you will get a free book and a free trial of the service for a month, and you get to keep that free trial book no matter what you decide. So just go to audibletrial.com/Last First Date and claim your free gift. And now I'd like to introduce my special guest. Her name is Wendy Williams, and she is a relationship advisor and a coach. She weaves together her background as a nurse, an educator, a speaker, and a personal development coach to help people and both individuals and couples and communities shift from soul draining to soul satisfying connection or reconnection. I love that, soul satisfying. Bearing witness to oncology and HIV/AIDS patients living and dying over the years as a nurse in Boston hospitals, along with her own marriage rebirth, led her to bring the best of the best to relationship health. No other success can compensate for failure in the home. Without attention and care, marriages wither and dry up, but happier is possible. So join me now as Wendy speaks about how to have a blissful relationship. Welcome to the show, Wendy.
Hi, Sandy. How are you? I'm so glad to be here. This is just a thrill and an honor. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Excited to have you here because this is one of my favorite topics, and I think a lot of people think that it is what it is. You know, it can't get any better. It's kind of stale, and so I'm so glad you speak about how we can improve marriages. So first, let's hear a little bit about you, and how did you come to this place of marriage coaching?
Oh, that's a very interesting story. So I am a registered nurse by background, and I didn't get married until the advanced age of 38 years old. So I don't know exactly if I fit into your category, but I was 38 years old, and I got married, and I was never anybody that was saying, oh, I'm dreaming about the white dress and the flowers, and I wasn't a young woman that was raised up as kind of romanticizing or envisioning partnering with anybody. I was very self-satisfied. I grew up a girl in the 70s, right? I grew up, being told that women could have it all and all that good stuff. So, oh, goodness gracious, I apologize. Puppy dog. No. So anyway, I grew up that way, and so it was a very considered decision to get married to this guy at this time. He was a divorced man with 2 little kids, and he was a very self-sufficient guy, very independent. We had a lot in common, and I came home one day. I had the dry cleaning over one arm. I had 3 grocery bags in the left hand. I was walking up to the second floor walk-up where we lived at the time, and I had worked a 10-hour day as a nurse in town, and he had worked 8 or 10 hours, whatever it was, and I was going to come home and make a nice dinner. And I opened the door, and there was dishes in the sink. There was laundry in the baskets. There was, it was chaotic in the house, and there he was, sitting on the couch, playing the banjo. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I threw everything down. I said, I didn't get married for this. I'm not your go get the laundry girl. I'm not your come home and cook a nice dinner for you while you do the banjo thing. I mean, I was furious. And I was also very confused because I know this guy. I know this man. I had a lot of respect for him. I didn't get it. And
Are you still there? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, okay. So I'm information driven, and I'm like very, very curious. So I said, what's going on? I know this is a good man, and I know I'm a smart woman, and what am I missing here? So it set me on a kind of a journey of doing a lot of reading and going on weekend retreats with my husband and so forth, and the light kind of dawned. The thing that made the biggest impact was reading that marriages actually go through developmental stages, very similar to what individuals go through developmental stages. And there are points in time that are more fun, and there are points in time that are less fun. For instance, with human beings, adolescence, pimples, voice changing, not so much fun. And there's an adolescence to relationships, too, that isn't as much fun. But on the other side of it is something really wonderful. So it's just my own personal journey of being confused, but yet pretty certain that I knew that I had a quality man in my life and that I was a quality woman. I said, there's got to be something more to what's going on than meets the eye. And sure enough, that's really, I would say, the underpinnings of my whole approach to coaching, my whole approach to working with couples and individuals, is that we're taking things very personally that aren't particularly personal. They're either developmental, they're social, or they're biologic. And we keep saying, in my case, that Jeff is a real jerk, or that Wendy's kind of cranky. It isn't about Wendy and Jeff. It's about women. It's about men. It's about society. It's about developmental stages. It's about a lot of things.
Mm. Well, that whole thing about not taking things personally, I'm getting feedback now. I don't know if something just changed. Are you on a speakerphone by any chance?
I am not on the speakerphone, no.
Okay. All right, now it's better.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening, but now it's good. Okay, so yeah, that we tend to take things personally in relationships in general, and often it's our own personal triggers. It's things from our past. It's, like you said, it can be so many different things. And I think you said a couple of really important things. One is that you didn't romanticize marriage, and you found this guy, and he seemed great. And so it sounds like you had a really strong foundation that you started with, which some people don't. They start out with wishful thinking and definitely romanticizing. And so I think you started with a stronger core for a relationship. But also that marriages and any relationship goes through highs and lows. And we definitely, there are stages to relationship. And I've had on several guests who've talked about the stages that we go through. So, we can't expect things to always be the same because we are changing human beings. So I think it's really, really important points that you bring up. So let's talk a little bit more about that and about how marriages today are a little bit different from in the past and some of the core reasons for that.
Absolutely. I find this really, really fascinating. And a lot of times I'll put stuff out on my own social media, hashtag not your mama's marriage. Because it really, we really can't look backwards. We really can't look up and over to our aunts and our grandmas and our moms or other people to kind of help us with this terrain, because it's very, very different. We've undergone a sea change in marriages and relationships in the past 35, 40 years. And the biggest reason for that really is the women's movement. Women have undergone a deep self-reflection and also are in the world in a very different way in the last 35, 40 years. And men have not undergone such a similar journey. And so very general terms here, please. I hope nobody in the audience takes things too personally and says, yeah, but my situation's not like that. Of course, I'm talking broad strokes here. And that, women in general are out in the world making it happen, making a living, and so forth. And a lot of the social contract that went on in generations past with marriages was a division of labor, if you will. You go out, you earn the living, I'll stay home with the kids, I'll figure out when they go to the dentist, I'll make sure they do their homework, I'll make the food, you bring me the money, I'll go shop for it will all work out. And it was basically what Terrence Real, one of my favorite researchers and therapists out there, calls a companionship marriage. And nowadays we have actually gone to a place where women are required, the relationship is about intimacy. And it's very, very different. And men generally are not looking to the marriage to be for the men to be completely everything to their women. Women have moved away from using their female people groups for getting rid of some stress, or for talking, for socializing, for just being women, and we're now looking more and more to the relationship, and there's a lot more stress on it than there ever was before. So there's just so much going on that's so different that, again, when I talk about being personal, taking things too personally, I'm saying I must be married to the wrong guy, or I'm married to the wrong gal. She seemed so great when we were dating or when we were first together, but now it's just gone, to hell in a handbasket. So it must be because I picked the wrong person. But what's going on are these stages and this social contract that we're all living under that we don't really have role models to look back to. So it's really causing a lot of very personal havoc with people breaking up or not staying together, and a lot of fallout from that, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, and a lot of fear. I know that a lot of your clients and a lot of the people listening are women over 40 who maybe want to try again or try for the first time. There's a lot of fear, and there should be, because we don't have much to look to that shows success.
Yeah, so it is interesting with the women's movement. I'm getting feedback again, Wendy.
I don't know why. I'm not doing anything. I'm just I
don't know.
I don't know what to tell you. What should we do?
Well, it worked before. Now it's okay again. Okay, so
okay,
let's keep going.
Okay.
So the thing about the women's movement, I think that a lot of men are confused because women seem to be able to do it all, and I think a lot of women are giving off that message that we're so independent and we have, we can run the house and we can go out and make a living, and we don't really need a man. And so men feel marginalized. Women get resentful because they really do want a man, but they're afraid to say that they want it because that feels weak. And it's a confusing time that we live in, and I think we have to redefine the roles of men and women. And I think that
absolutely,
so it is a tough time to have a relationship, but in many ways it's very exciting. So what do we do? How do we navigate this crazy 21st century?
No, that's a really good point, and I think that you're right. Men are confused, and they do feel marginalized because back in the day, again, there was a very specific role. I can put a smile on my woman's face when I bring home a paycheck. I can put a smile on my woman's face when I'm, when I go off to work every day or whatever. And now there's a difference. Women say, I can go get my own paycheck, thank you very much. I need help with the kids when I come home. I don't need your money. I can take care of this myself. So they do feel marginalized. You're absolutely right. And so let me, I think I'd like to flip the question if you don't mind, because I think this is really key. Remember my husband Jeff playing the banjo? Okay, I figured out what that was about. I didn't figure it out, but thanks to people like John Gray. Did you know that at the end of a day, a man's testosterone level, testosterone is a very important hormone that we can all kind of laugh and giggle about. It grows hair and it makes men sexually active. That's true, but it also fights men's stress levels. If there's not enough testosterone in their bodies don't deal with stress very well. They're kind of on edge. And in order for men to regenerate their stores of testosterone, do you know what the number one way to do that is? Muscles that are at complete rest. Muscles that are at complete rest. So they come home at the end of the day. What do? They sit down in front of the TV, ideally. Ideally, they sit down in front of the TV. They just chill out. They go into their man cave and so forth. It's got a physiological reason. It's not just, whatever you might surmise. It has a very physiological reason. So if a man is allowed to come home and de-stress and stuff like that. Now, women, on the other hand, they've done an amazing study which they've tested women's stress hormone. It's called cortisol on the job. Men and women, head to head. Men and women have X amount of stress hormone floating around during the workday. Women is twice that of men during the workday. Women and men come home at the end of the day. Men's stress levels goes down, and women's stress level actually increases, so that in the evening time, women have 4 times the amount of stress hormone swimming around than men do. Okay? So one of the key things that men can do to feel like they can put a smile on a woman's face so that they can feel like they're important, because women do need men. And the most important thing that women need men for is that connection, is that time to listen to them and not offer up solutions, but just listen. And also the most wonderful way that a woman's stress level can come down and her oxytocin can be increased greatly is through romance. So these are the 3 magic phrases. I would love it if your listeners could take away these 2 points. 3 magic phrases for men to use with women. So women, write this down and tell your guy. 3 magic phrases is really Tell me more about that. And how about, wow, that sounds tough. And, hey, is that all? Is there more? Those 3 phrases, when a woman at the end of the day, 10 magic minutes of just listening face to face and not offering solutions, not saying, what do you mean your boss said that? Just send him an email and tell him these 5 things. Or don't worry about Johnny's D in math. He'll be fine. No. Zip it. Just say, really? Tell me more about that. Wow, that sounds tough. Is that all? Is there more? Those 3 things.
I love it.
10 minutes of time, a woman's stress level is going to come way down, and she's getting that from the person that she wants it from the most. A listening ear and a loving gaze from somebody that she really, really cares about. But I got to tell you, that goes against every fiber of a man's being is about, let's either kill it or run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
They want to solve the problem. They want to kill it or run away from it. They don't want to swim around in it. Women are wired to swim around in it. And so that's a key way that men can help women. Now, do you want to hear what I think would be great for women to do for men to help them feel more like that they're, like you said, important and part of their lives?
Yes.
All right, good. So guys can feel dismissed. Guys can feel like they're not on the same page, because we think so much quicker. We think with all 4 quadrants of our minds, our brains. Men are very kind of linear, one thing at a time. And that's, again, there's some really good physiological reasons for that. But let's just take that at face value. That's really the way it is. They're not kidding. Okay? So these are 3 great ways that a woman could say to a guy, hey, that's a good idea, as opposed to saying, well, what about these other 17 options? Hey, that's a good idea. That makes sense. And the third one, this is a killer for a lot of us. Oh, you're right. So those 3 things for women to say to men will really help a man feel like they're really helping you, that they're really, because really men are wired to what they see. A smile on a woman's face is a physiological jump to that. There's something really, really important. Men want to be the hero. They want to be your emergency guy, So there's just so many things I think that we can do that are so very, very simple that will lead to, like you said, a soul satisfying and not a soul draining relationship that can lead to more bliss. And they're pretty simple.
They're very simple, and this is very smart. Again, I'm getting feedback again.
I don't hear anything different. It's so silly. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it goes in and out, and now it's good again. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So what I love about these is that it takes into consideration that men and women are not clones of each other, that we are very different in how our brains function and how we process information, and we need different things. And once we can, this is all about not taking it personally. It's about understanding each other and seek to understand. So once you do, then you know the phrases that are magical, that are really connecting and that help to create a better relationship, because we're not fighting each other, we're actually connecting. So the phrases for men to use with women, instead of fixing, and I think women need to really let men know that, and it's something that I teach because I'm a big proponent of teaching how to communicate, and I'm about to actually relaunch my communications course for women. And this is for women who are married or single. And it's really, number one, you have to understand your own feelings and needs. It's not just about trying to connect with somebody else. But for women to understand men and men to understand women is critical. So, instead of...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, instead of thinking that we all should be responding in the same way, that's ridiculous. And it's not just about men and women, being different. It's also that all of us have different ways of processing. We have different personalities. We have different love languages. Some people need affection. Some people need touch. Some people need words of affirmation. I mean, we are just different people. And so a person isn't rejecting you because they aren't responding in the way that you think you need to be responded to, and they can't read your mind. That's a big one too. So, you've got to say, if you don't want him fixing it, you need to say, honey, can you just listen to me now? That would really mean so much if you just sat here and held my hand and listened to me, gave me a hug. I just need to vent right now. I don't need solution. Is that okay? Would that work for you? I mean, just talk.
Right, exactly. And there's some great, you don't even have to go into the science, but for me the science is pretty interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So women's day-to-day stress levels, day-to-day normal stress, Johnny got the D on the report card, the bills are piling up, the laundry's piling up. That stress puts women into an emotional, 8 times more of an emotional response than a man. A man on day-to-day level, my son's getting a D in his report card, there's a lot of laundry piling up, I got to vacuum up the car. He's not getting stressed. His emotional center's not getting pinged with that. It doesn't get pinged until it's high-level stress, like somebody's in the neighborhood with a gun or something like that. Then he gets emotional. So that emotional difference is also very, very, very different. And you're absolutely right. You take these basic male characteristics and male hormones and female characteristics and female hormones, and then you mix in our background, our culture, our, what love language do we speak? So you get everything else in there. But for my money, just to realize that you are genetically, your gender is female, my gender is male, and there's so much already in there that's I don't want to say immutable, but you know what I mean, immutable. It's baked in. It's part of us. That can take so much starch out of messy interactions, so much starch out of it. It's like saying, to your 2-year-old child that's running around in diapers, really? Did you just mess your diaper again? I'm really starting to take personal offense to this. I'm really upset with you. I really wish you wouldn't. Maybe we should think about separating. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're developmentally not prepared to do anything else other than do what they do with diapers. But it's like being really angry at this child for having this body. That's what happens when we're really angry at a guy for needing to rest when he comes home, or really angry at our wives for wanting to talk. It's like it's just not realistic. And if we just said, most people don't go, I really can't stand my child because they're still in diapers. We might say, I can't wait for the stage to be done, but we accept it and we lovingly change their diapers most of the time. That's what I'm suggesting.
We train them. And then we train them. We toilet train them. So we have to do the same with people that we're in relationship with.
Perfect.
It's
perfect.
We train our children to be disciplined. We train our friends to treat us the way we want them to. I think that and taking the time to train is really important, and it's not that your spouse is like a puppy, but boy, do men love it when women are clear with them about what they need and want, because a good guy wants to make you happy, and that's something that I think a lot of women forgot. So that's an important message to leave us with, is that the way to happiness is really to be clear and also to understand each other, not to take things personally, but use these phrases, these wonderful phrases. Hey, that's a good idea. That makes sense. Oh, you're right. It's that saying, you want to be right or you want to be happy. It's
I love that one. I love that one.
That's
and it's so true.
One of my favorites. So Wendy, this was fantastic. And how can our listeners find you?
Yeah, sure. I'm out there at connectagain.org. And I also have a Facebook page, facebook.com/connectagain. And I'm also a podcaster, and I work with 2 colleagues. We have a great podcast called Mighty Married Moms, And so there's a woman that's a health coach, Mighty, and then there's myself, married, and then there's a third coach who works with kids and families in coaching parents. And so we're the Mighty Married Moms, and we have amazing guests that we have out on our podcast. And so mightymarriedmoms.com is another place.
Awesome. Well, I've checked out your podcast. It's fantastic, and really great tips today for a blissful relationship. And I'm glad your husband knows how to get off the couch and stop playing the banjo when he needs to, but also take the time to regroup when he needs to also, and you don't get angry anymore.
That's exactly
so thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening today, and I hope that you all go on your last first date very soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.